Good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, Wednesday morning. Janisa, welcome this morning. Welcome everybody. I'm a few minutes late this morning. Not because I slept in at all. I've been up since 4 this morning, but it took a little while to thaw out my pickup before I got here. Hey, there's my mom. Good morning. Karen Lowe, I see you. Welcome this morning. We'll wait a few more moments here as people are coming into our live stream. Steve and Andrea, good morning to you. Lori Agassi, welcome this morning. Barbara Richardson, happy birthday to you, Barbara. Good to see you this morning. Letitia Sexton, good morning. This morning we are in Psalm 77. If you have your Bible handy, we're going to read several verses from Psalm 77 this morning. Jeremy and Wendy, good to see you. Wait a couple of moments longer. Acknowledge a couple more people. Good morning. You know, being out here every morning, you feel the temperature change every day. Everything's a little bit different. And my phone, you look at the temperature on your phone, and some mornings the temperature says it's cold. And I get outside and it's like, it doesn't really feel that cold. And then other mornings, you definitely feel it. And so this morning, I don't know if it's the humidity that's the difference. I don't know. But it's definitely a colder morning. Yesterday was pretty cold too. I ended up running in the afternoon, which I think I'm tempted to do again today. I'll run in the afternoon versus the morning. It's just a little unmotivating to be running, because I run in a t-shirt and even when it's cold, and so that first mile, a little tricky. So I may be tempted to put it off till this afternoon. So I'm in Psalm 77. And welcome everybody who's coming later this morning, either after I've already started my devotion, or if you're watching later, just acknowledging you today. God bless you as you hopefully are encouraged by today's psalm. Psalm 77 is not a psalm of David. It's attributed to Asaph. And if you've already read this morning's series of psalms, you know that this particular psalm, the psalmist is going through a rough spot. I'll just read a few verses to give you a picture of it. In verse 1, I cry aloud to God, the psalmist says, and he will hear me. So that starts out pretty positive, but we move into the psalm and you realize, why is he going through a rough time? In the day of my trouble I seek the Lord. In the night my hand is stretched out without wearying. My soul refuses to be comforted. Though the psalmist is crying out to God, his soul is not cooperating, refusing to be comforted. When I remember my God, I moan. When I meditate, my spirit faints. So he's reflecting on the Lord, but it doesn't seem to help. His soul's not cooperating. And he'll go on to talk about that it feels like, is God forgotten? Has his steadfast love, his loyal covenant-keeping love ended? He reflects that. I said, let me remember my song in the night. Let me meditate in my heart. Then my spirit made a diligent search. So here's his reflection. Has his steadfast love forever ceased? In other words, he's not feeling it now. Does that mean it ceased? And will it ever come back? Will the Lord spurn forever and never again be favorable? Has his steadfast love forever ceased? Are his promises at an end for all time? Has God forgotten to be gracious? Has he in anger shut up his compassion? So these are really strong words from the psalmist, and just reflective of how they're feeling, right? God, where are you? You're silent right now. There's a time of quiet, and I'm struggling here. My soul is not reviving even as I spend my morning meditation, right? And I think we can all relate to that. Even, I'm not going through a time like that right now, but certainly in times there's been those times where, as you reflect on, I think about even of seasons of the year, where there's times like right now where the grass is green. I love this time in Amador County where all the hills are green, grass is lush, and soon it'll start growing like mad, right? So like an inch a day. And if you have to maintain any property, you're out there kind of weed eating or you're mowing your lawn, and just a few days later it feels like it's back up again and you have to do it again. And this is the time of year that everything just growing. If you go out into more wild areas, you start seeing the wildflowers are starting to pop and bloom. And if you've gone down to the McCallum River Canyon, you see that the poppies are just starting right now, and the hillside is starting to turn orange with the poppies, and it's beautiful. It's spring, and there's life and growing. But then the normal season, as we move into early parts of summer and the heat starts coming, and the grass doesn't stay green in Amador County very long, and those days begin to abate, and we're like, oh no, the brown grass and everything is just withered, and those wildflowers that are just popping in the spring, they fall and they're nowhere to be found any longer, and they're just replaced by dryness. The springs and the creeks begin to dry up, and then you're in the heat of summer. And I think this is kind of akin to the psalmist and where he's at right now. He just feels like he's in the summertime. And, when will it end? Will there be rain ever to come back and replenish the land, and the grass turn green again and the flowers bloom? And I'm longing for those days of spring when it felt like everything was growing, and I felt your presence, God, day after day, and you're doing wonderful things in my life, and I could see your mighty hand in your work, and here he is, and I'm groaning and my soul is not reviving. I'm pondering on God, but my spirit isn't lifted. That's kind of where he's at. So here's his strategy as he reflects and moves, after this time of pause. Verse 10 is where the turning point is. Then I said, I will appeal to this. Here's my new strategy. To the years of the right hand of the Most High. I'm going to go back in my mind to those times where I felt like I was right at the right hand of God, that he was moving, he was speaking, he was present, and I heard him. And so he goes in verse 11, I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember your wonders of old. So he's gone from reflecting on, God, have you forgotten? Will you stay forever away and not speak? He's like, okay, so I'm going to discipline my own mind. I'm going to discipline my own heart. I will do the remembering. I will remember your wonders of old. I will ponder all of your work and meditate on your mighty deeds. Your way, O God, is holy. What God is great like our God? So he's beginning this ponderance. That what God is like our God? You are a mighty God. You are the God who works wonders. You have made known your might among the peoples. With you, your arm redeemed your people, the children of God and of Jacob. And he reflects, these great, vast, mighty deeds of God. But he gets real specific about the specific time that God, and this is often the way of ancient Israel when they want to reflect on the mighty deeds of God. They do it in two ways. One, they go back to creation. You created all things. And the other thing that they reflect on is the mighty hand of God as he delivered Israel out of the hands of Egypt, out of their bondage. And specifically, the most common reference is how God parted the sea. And this is what the psalmist does in verse 16. When the waters saw you, O God, when the waters saw you, they were afraid. Indeed, the deep trembled. Very specific, mighty act of God on behalf of his people. And I'll skip to the last two verses. Your way was through the sea, your path through the great waters, yet your footprints were unseen. You didn't physically manifest before us, God. You weren't seen then, but yet you were parting the mighty waters. You led your people like a flock by the hands of Moses and Aaron. And so I think this is such a great encouragement, a great practice for those days, the in-between. So you're reflecting back and like, man, God was really speaking in that time of spring and everything was growing, and I really reflected on you, and my soul was stirred. But right now, I'm in the in-between part, and moving into the days of summer, and the streams feel like they've dried up, and the flowers have fallen, and the grass has withered, and God, it feels like maybe you've forgotten. So now, though that's not true, now I will do the remembering. I'm going to remember and ponder your mighty deeds of old, and specifically how you delivered Israel out of Egypt after a long period, 300 years of bondage. They had moved through a desert time. They were in the in-between. They were trying to reflect on perhaps the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, when God's promises were being spoken and God was moving in their midst. Now they're experiencing this long time of in-between, this bondage in Egypt, and yet God still was with them. God saw. God heard their cries, and he delivered them. He parted the waters, and he allowed them to walk through. Yet he was unseen throughout this time. And so I think it's just a good reflection. That's what I did this morning. I sat and just pondered the mighty deeds of God in a former time of my life, and how I could just recount act after act after act of God on my behalf, how he moves. And I observed how he moves in nature. Has nothing to do with me, just how he supplies. He feeds the animals. He allows his earth to be replenished. He is constantly caring for his creation. And how much more does he set his favor on you, on me, who have placed our faith in him. And we are a child of God. We are the beloved of God. And even though we are perhaps in an in-between time, when our spirit isn't quite feeling like we're being revived, it's a good practice that we do the remembering. It's a part of God's plan and his good pleasure as we work out our salvation with fear and trembling, as he does his work according to his pleasure and working so mightily in us. Even in the in-between times, we sit and ponder and reflect on the mighty acts of God, and we practice that. And it's God's way, I think, of reminding us that he is present, even when we can't discern his movements, and even when his movements aren't clear to us, and it feels like we're kind of entering in that summer pattern, where things are drying up a little bit. Don't fear, don't fret. God still sees. You are still his beloved. And it's good and healthy to reflect on the mighty acts, the mighty deeds of God, and wait patiently. God will revive. He will part the waters again in our life. And so be encouraged today. Do some reflecting today. Do some journaling on how God has acted in the past, and reflect on that, even if you're in an in-between time in the present. So Lord bless you today, praying for you. Enjoy your day. Enjoy this spring day. It's cold right now, but I'm sure it's going to warm up and be a beautiful day today. So God bless you. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.